Hello everyone. Today, I'd like to think about inflation and deflation. In December 2022, the Consumer Price Index increased by 4% compared to the same month of the previous year, and in January 2023, it increased by 4.2%, making it the largest increase in 41 years since 1981. In response to the soaring electricity and gas prices, the Electricity and Gas Price Volatility Mitigation Project was launched, and from January 2023, household electricity charges were reduced by 7 yen per kilowatt-hour and gas charges by 30 yen per cubic meter. Recently, you may have seen more news about rising prices. First, let's look at the data on price fluctuations. This figure shows the change in the Consumer Price Index compared to the same month of the previous year. The core CPI, which excludes fresh food prices that are considered to be highly volatile, is often used, so let's take a look at that value here. Looking at the graph, you can see that consumer prices have been on the rise since the second half of 2021. On the other hand, you can also see that before that, prices had been falling consistently since April 2020. Then, did prices just go down and then back up? Let's take a look at Figure 2. This figure shows the movement of the Consumer Price Index with 2020 as 100. The index for 2022 is 102.1, which means that the price level is about 2% higher than in 2020. However, the index for 2019 is 100.2, and for 2021 it is 99.8, indicating that the trend of price increases is limited to the very recent past. If you look at the long-term trend, you can see that the price index was increasing by 2 to 3% in the 1990s, but then remained flat or fell during the last 20 years. The Bank of Japan's policy target, the Price Stability Target, calls for a 2% increase in the year-on-year consumer price index. Let's review the meanings of the terms inflation and deflation. Inflation refers to a continuous rise in the price level. Conversely, a continuous decline in the price level is called deflation. It may seem better for individuals if the price level falls rather than rises, but deflation has the following characteristics. When the price level falls, it means that the value of money is rising. You can buy more things with the same 10,000 yen. This means that the real value of your savings will also rise. On the other hand, the real burden of debt will also increase. As a result, investment becomes more cautious. If deflation has already reduced companies' sales, their investment capacity will be smaller, exacerbating the situation. Also, even if the nominal wage remains the same, the real wage will rise, causing companies to restrain employment. This, in turn, cools our consumption activities. Through these processes, economic activity stagnates. In the case of inflation, the opposite occurs. The value of money decreases. The real value of savings falls, so you need to manage your investments well. Also, the real burden of debt will decline, making it easier to invest for the future. Some may argue that aiming to escape deflation could lead to hyperinflation. It's true that a rapid rise in prices can cause economic and social turmoil, but hyperinflation refers to an inflation rate of over 50% per month or around 13,000% per year. It's hard to imagine such an extreme situation happening in Japan, except for exceptional cases like war. Now, how do we calculate the price index to determine whether prices are rising or not? In actual index calculations, information on 582 items, or 522 items when excluding fresh food, is used, but to grasp the essence, let's consider a very simple numerical example with just 2 items as shown in the next table. Let's think about 2 types of goods, agricultural products and industrial products. In 2020, 40 agricultural products were consumed at a price of 100 yen each, and 100 industrial products were consumed at a price of 200 yen each. Similarly, in 2022, 40 agricultural products were consumed at a price of 110 yen each, and 60 industrial products were consumed at a price of 250 yen each. In this case, is the price level in 2022, the comparison year, higher than that in 2020, the base year? And if so, by how much? How should we calculate this to determine the answers? I'd like to discuss the answer in the next video, so let's think about it for a while. Today, we looked at inflation and deflation. I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching.